Hey everybody, that cat here, and after some further testing, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be running this as my league starter for 317. We're running a Null's Inclination deck stacking Hierophant explosive era totem build. It's Ballistas. A lot of qualifiers on that list, but basically we're deck stacking because Null's Inclination gives us the minions deal 1% increased damage per 5 dexterity. Currently, I'm sitting at 1070 on my dex, so that's given me, what is that, 214% increased damage just as a baseline to the explosion. It's pretty smooth leveling. I don't think it has quite the top end as some of the elementalist burn, ignite, explosive arrow variants do, but it's got a much easier entry. You can get started on Blood Aqueducts on pretty minimal gear. You can get Null's Inclination at level 60, and you'll want to have some decks stacked. You could basically do a 3-socket with a GMP, Explosive Arrows, and Ballista Totem and get by. The additional sockets I'm running are Increased Crit Strike and Increased Crit Damage. You're needing the more damage later on. And I got an Empower, which I've got in the Skin of the Loyal, so that's running at a level 4 Empower. Makes my Explosive Arrow 25 overall. Obviously, that's getting into in-game gear. Also, this Fractal Thought's pretty cheap when it's available. Might be harder to find earlier in the league, even in a trade league. But that's an extra 15% dex. That's a big chunk there. And I've got an Astromentus. I had a corrupted one earlier. Now I've gotten this one, and it's got an Anoint on it. It's just proficiency is an extra 30 dex on that Anoint. So it's loaded into dex stacking. Let me show you the tree. It's a Hierophant, so we're coming over here. I haven't even run my 4th Ascendancy Lab. Probably should do that next, and I'm not even sure which one I'd pick up. I'm not even sure which one I'd pick up, quite frankly. I haven't even given it any thought. But we're running through and picking up Ancestral Bond. Not sure if we need that. Might do better to do some Culling Strike on self use bow. Not sure. But here's the key. Spiritual Aid increases and reductions to minion damage. That's the linchpin of the whole thing. So that minion increased damage that you get off Null's Inclination is given to you. Everybody knows that one. But early on, any fire skill, I used Rolling Magma and came up here and got these fire nodes. And this 50% increased elemental damage is good enough to keep around now. That 50% increased is still tangible, and it's worth those 3 points, I think, or 4 points getting in there. You can come down through and try to pick up the decks, basically. You're picking up increased totems. You get an extra totem here with Watchtowers. You get an extra totem here with Panopticon. And you're getting a bunch of decks with, obviously, all of these individual travel nodes. I'm working on my Suppress now, including this Mage Bane. That gets me a big chunk because I'm stacking decks. It gets me about 68%, I think, at that point, maybe a little more. But this will wrap up my 100% just with this wheel, and then I'll get that critical strike chances increased by suppressed spell damage. That'll beef up my damage on the front end a little bit, and I'm really starting to leverage Ignite, although I'm not igniting regularly. I'll pull this tooltip back up. My Ignite chance is only 25%, but I do self-curse, or rather curse by hand on flammability. I didn't even bother getting a ring or anything to auto-apply that. Flammability, because all you're doing is dropping totems, and you have a lot of extra time to just hit another button. Flammability gets me an extra 25% chance to ignite on the cursed enemies, so it's 50% on them, not counting the crit strike chance. So 50% or close to it, and then another 50%. You're igniting about 75% of the time, if my math is correct. Just swapped out an arrow. I was running a skirmish, which gave me an extra ballista totem, or an extra totem with attack skills. In this case, a ballista totem. But I get a bunch more damage over time multiplier, some flat, and then some fire damage over time multiplier. It also gives me some crit strike chance and crit strike multiplier. It I could maybe get another quiver to swap out on Ellie intensive maps. When I get an Ellie weakness map, I am not over capped. I'm capped, and I'm not in bad shape on chaos. It's just sub zero. It could obviously be better, but it's still pretty scuffed gear, quite frankly. But I swap into Purity of Elements and out of my Determination. That hurts. Determination is obviously super strong, but sometimes you need that extra Purity of Elements if it's a Ellie intensive map and with the Ellie weakness. So that's the swap I do. Less than ideal, but it's what I'm getting through. And I have run each tier of map. I just cleared a Primordial box before cutting this video. It goes slowly. It transferred very smoothly into early maps, and then later on, your damage starts to fall behind the life of some of the mobs you're fighting. So you're slowing down and haven't hit them more than once. You can't just breeze through and leave a pack of ballistas behind and keep going. You can early. So the ease of entry into maps is the reason I think I'm going to play this, and it does have the ability to get into the higher level maps. I've cleared every tier of map at least once, and they work, but it's a little slow, and you have to be careful of some of the mods on your maps. You can't just run anything. Not going to be the best in-game build, but super easy to enter into maps and easy to get there. So really happy with how it's played. And this is where I'm going to be starting. I will send an official build guide, set that up when we finally get a Path of Building patch for 3.17. Not sure when that'll come, but I'll put something together for you all and post that too. Looking forward to 3.17, obviously. I know everyone is. Certainly you are if you clicked on this video. So we're all going to get there together, and hopefully this will do as well as I plan. If you want to check me out on my Twitch, ask me questions about it, I'm always open to that. You can come by anytime. I'm here every day. Stop on by. Like, follow, subscribe, folks. This is That Cat. I'm out.